If divine intervention and synchronicity exist, spirit and matter cannot be separate. Sincere contemplation of nature brings this unity of spirit and matter to the forefront of our awareness. This understanding is not found only in Lao-tzu's Taoism, but it is common in the East and at the very core of many spiritual traditions. The spiritual science at the basis of Gnosticism and Hermeticism esoterically explains how spirit and matter can be one. The Hermetic tradition, as set out in a book called The Kabbalion, explains in 7 laws how spirit and matter, or in other words, the inner and outer worlds, are in mutual relationship to each other. The laws of vibration and rhythm show how spirit and matter are in a constant dance, made up of subatomic particles which ebb and flow at varying rates of magnitude according to the harmonic resonance between them. Law 3, the principle of vibration. Nothing rests, everything moves, everything vibrates. Law 5, the principle of rhythm. Everything flows out and in. Everything has its tides. All things rise and fall. The pendulum swing manifests in everything. The measure of the swing to the right is a measure of the swing to the left. Rhythm compensates. Yet both of these are meaningless if they are not understood in relation to the first principle of Hermeticism, which indicates how there could be any fluctuations of vibration and rhythm in relation to spirit and matter. The principle states, Law 1, the principle of mentalism, the all is mind, the universe is mental. Mind here should not be mistaken for the superficial mind or ego, which is only an accumulation of conditioning. Rather, this mind is consciousness, which is the foundation of the entire universe. Modern spiritual and scientific understanding are coming to the same conclusion, that everything is a manifestation of a unified field of consciousness. Consciousness, according to the sages, is not isolated within the mind of the human brain, but exists everywhere in 3 planes, which are defined in the wisdom traditions as the physical, mental, and spiritual planes. The Hindu philosophy of Vedanta is in part based on the deep understanding that what we in the modern era know as the atom is actually a spiritual aspect of the one consciousness of Brahman, irreducible essence, ultimate reality, Godhead, which functions like a breath coming from the spiritual plane into the manifestation of the physical plane. The spiritual atom is a product of consciousness and moves according to the focus of conscious awareness. Consciousness produces the spiritual atom, which multiplies through the principle of vibration and rhythm until we have the outward form of matter, which in essence is nothing more than a garment of consciousness manifested through the dance of subatomic particles. The physical, mental, and spiritual planes of consciousness are connected by the vibration and rhythm of subatomic particles producing the dance of life. Consciousness dwells in everything, both space and matter, in a cosmic symphony. The individual is part of this symphony, and synchronicity is the harmony that is produced by this dance. Yet only those who trust the universe can perceive this dance with clear eyes. Synchronicity does exist for everyone, even materialists and non-believers, but the ignorant pass such experiences off as coincidence and do not learn or grow from them. One who dwells on the spiritual plane perceives things as they are in holistic truth, while one who is primarily on the mental and physical planes still believes in a material world devoid of spirit. In Confucius's commentary on the I Ching, he explains that what we resonate deeply with will affect our experience and, consequently, the synchronicity experience between the underlying spirit of the individual and the external world. Things that accord in tone vibrate together. Things that have affinity in their inmost natures seek one another. Water flows to what is wet. Fire turns to what is dry. Clouds, the breath of heaven, follow the dragon. Wind, the breath of earth, follows the tiger. Thus the sage arises, and all creatures follow him with their eyes. What is born of heaven feels related to what is above. What is born of earth feels related to what is below. Each follows its kind. Whatever our mind is focused on will be the world we experience, because perception is molded by life through the thoughts, feelings, and emotions that we hold as important to us. Although the spiritual plane influences both the mental and physical planes, thoughts, feelings, and emotions exist on the mental plane and cannot become pure unless one dwells on the spiritual plane. People who live only in the 2 lower worlds are driven by their conditioning. They are attracted only to those realms and suffer according to their apparent duality. On the other hand, those very few who live on the spiritual plane can see the one consciousness and harmony playing out in all forms. Zhuangzi poetically explains this spiritual perception. When there is no more separation between this and that, it is called the still point of the Tao. At the still point in the center of the circle, one can see the infinite in all things. The spiritual understanding of consciousness also conflicts with the materialistic scientific perspective. Materialistic science is under the impression that consciousness is a phenomenon limited to the brain, which in turn is believed to be situated inside the brain. From this, we can understand why synchronicity has not been given any serious thought in the scientific field outside of psychology and quantum physics. To regard consciousness as merely the function of the physical anatomy of the brain resembles the religious notion that spirit and matter are separate. From a common sense point of view, how could anything in life be connected or relate to anything else without consciousness? How could rain nourish plant life and plant life nourish us in turn if there were no underlying consciousness compelling them to do so? All manifestations of consciousness relate to each other in a symbiotic harmony, but usually only a sage can recognize it. Synchronicity brings this awareness to the forefront of our knowledge when our perception has been marinated in a trust-anew way and the harmony of Tao.